Boy, it's getting very close of Ilhan Omar getting their citizenship revoked and getting deported out of the United States. This woman is panicking. She went on the Breakfast Club with Charlemagne. The guy pretty much confronted her about the Somali fraud that's going on. And of course, she's playing victim and stuff, still attacking President Trump. We ain't gonna worry about none of that because like I said, she is in trouble and she is panicking. So y'all please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and let's go ahead and dive straight into this. I'm not even gonna hold y'all up. Let's go.
Fox News alert, Ilhan Omar under investigation after racking up millions while she was in Congress. Senior national correspondent Kevin Cork has it. What's up, Kevin?
Good to see you, my friend. What's the old saying? Follow the money? Well, that's precisely what the House Oversight Committee is doing. They are probing squad member Ilhan Omar's skyrocketing family wealth, Jesse, especially in the wake of that $9 billion, some would argue $19 billion, Somali social services fraud scandal that exploded in her district in Minnesota. The oversight chair, James Comer, says his team's lawyers are exploring the extraordinary step of subpoenaing Omar's spouse over his curious business practices. Republicans want to know how the Somali-born Omar and her politically connected husband Tim Manette went from being nearly broke to being worth around $30 million in just a year, according to her 2024 disclosure forms. Quoting Comer now, there are a lot of questions as to how her husband accumulated so much wealth over the past 2 years.
Y'all have to remember that she said that her husband didn't have a job, so he ain't got no money coming in. So you telling me that y'all had a net worth together of $50-some thousand in over a year? Y'all now worth over $30 million? How did that happen? How did that happen? Remember, they got sued as well, where her husband, Tim Manette, got sued because of the fraudulent deals he had going on within that business. So that's the reason why I say she know that she's in trouble and Ilhan Omar knows all about it. But yet she never wants to talk about it. She want to talk about President Trump and attack him all day long. But we're going to get to that interview she did in just a second.
It's not possible. It's not. And he's a money guy. Manette and his partner, Will Haler, back in 2022, formed an investment firm, Jesse, named Rose Lake Capital. They had $42 in their bank account at the time, but in a year, up to $25 million, according to Omar's filing. By the way, he also has a wine business that went from next to nothing to millions on its books. Not surprisingly, associates were so perplexed about the irregularities, they brought information and attention to the feds to, look into it. Now, for her part, the Congresswoman has repeatedly, and I say defiantly, denied any wrongdoing while being also careful to criticize the ongoing probe. But, sometimes they say, Jesse, the ones who yell the loudest have the most to hide.
Well, innocent until proven guilty. I'm sure everything was perfectly legal.
So, and this is the reason why she's panicking. So now she's running around doing interviews. She already heard what President Trump said about throwing her out of the country because it's coming. Then we heard what I showed y'all the video what J.D. Vance said the other day, that they did find her guilty of immigration fraud, and they know for a fact that she did it. So now she's just doing damage control, going around crying and just saying, oh, Donald Trump is going after me. They playing politics. Donald Trump is not playing politics. Playing politics is what Joe Biden and the Biden administration was doing to President Trump when y'all was trying to lock that man up, trying to get him sent to prison. Y'all tried to do everything y'all can to stop President Trump, to stop Trump from becoming president. Y'all tried everything, shooting him, every freaking thing, calling him names, especially Jasmine Crockett, especially AOC, all of them. So that right there is just freaking insane to me. Just don't make no freaking sense. So she went over here on the Breakfast Club, and of course, Charlemagne and all of them asked her about the fraud. Let's see what Ilhan Omar said.
Let's stay here for a second. Yeah. Republicans, like Lauren said, they are pushing this ethics probe over your family's finances and your husband's business dealings. What do you think that's really about? Is it accountability or politics?
Well, it's not accountability because they haven't done anything formally, right? So it is just politics. It's like, we're going to subpoena, we're going to do that. It's like, it's all of these things that are not, they're never going to do. So they're just saying it because then that gets them an interview on Fox.
So now President Trump them just saying something about Ilhan Omar because it'll get them an interview. What you mean it'll get them? Anybody go on Fox News, CNN, and talk? What are you talking about? That talking about you will get somebody an interview? Look what y'all be doing. This woman cannot do an interview without bringing up Donald Trump. She can't do one interview without talking about President Trump. This is crazy.
Or Newsmax, or you'll see they tweet, and like 5 minutes later, if you check, they already got a clip of themselves being interviewed 5 seconds later. And so it is more about, and it's usually like a lot of members that struggle to get or are like really desiring, right? Like there are a lot of members who come to Congress and they are comms heavy. Their office is very comms heavy. They're trying to get on every TV show that they can. And so that's what a lot of it is like driven by. Since I got there, it's like you say something about Ilhan, people fundraise, they're buying me a ticket back home. It's like, it's all of this stuff. I joked with Nancy Mace that she could drop off the ticket because I'm next door to her office. She hasn't dropped off a ticket yet. If you mean it, send me that ticket, but it's all about, how do I get this click? How do I, then send the fundraising email? How do I say, I'm holding Ilhan accountable? There's never really anything that they're...
She pretty much just trying to say that, Donald Trump them ain't gonna do nothing. His DOJ ain't gonna do nothing. They just playing. They just saying it just so they can get interviews. I'm not worried. And that's the problem right there. That's the reason why I said something needs to happen so these people don't be talking like this. She's talking like she's not worried. But yet we know for a fact what's finna happen. We heard what J.D. Vance said. We heard what President Trump said. We know what Mark Wayne Mullen is now going to do. Of course, Pam Bundy. I had absolutely no problem with Pam Bundy. I understand a lot of people didn't like her because they said that she wasn't getting nobody arrested. She wasn't doing anything. And that's what a lot of people felt like. But we shall see.
Holding on to, yeah.
So are you saying that some of these investigations are more partisan than others?
I haven't seen it.
The Justice Department has said that they're also going to look into your husband. Are you concerned about that?
They haven't said. I haven't seen a single investigation.
That's what I was wondering to know.
Yeah,
is there an investigation?
If
Look how nervous she looking, y'all. Look at this. Look at Ilhan Omar's face. And she talking about she ain't heard anything. She's just up here just telling lies. But look at the look on her face and how nervous and scared she is.
Single investigation.
That's what I was wondering to know.
Yeah,
is there an investigation?
If you know of some, let me know.
I wouldn't call it an investigation.
Yeah.
There's just been a focus on the rapid increase in your household wealth tied to your husband's company.
Well, they have to make a choice to investigate, right? Like, do they choose to investigate or not?
I mean, if you've done something illegal, you would investigate.
But they're not investigating you.
I have not been made aware of an investigation.
Oh my God. She said, this woman says she has not been made aware of an investigation. But she can be on Twitter all day talking about everything President Trump posts. But she didn't see not one post about her being investigated. She's sitting up here just telling lies. And then I just showed y'all a clip before this clip of her being investigated. And she still went on this show and said, look, I'm not being investigated. And this is what these people do, is just tell lies. I want to know if Charlamagne or anybody to that table is going to ask her, hey, Ilhan, how did you and your husband go from $50,000 to $30 million in a year? How did y'all do that? I guarantee you, none of them is going to ask her that question. That's the reason why she like to go into these safe zones where, Charlamagne kind of remind me of Stephen A. Smith. He'll call out his own side, but, he's still, with the crap and stuff too. But she go to these little safe places because she know they're not going to ask her all these questions. That's why you never see Ilhan Omar on Fox News. That's why you never see her interview with a conservative or a Republican, because she know these questions are coming. So she goes over here because she know they're not going to ask her that. Ask her, how did her and her husband go from $50,000 or $50 to $30 million in a year? How?
Into me or my family.
But when you look at the increase in your household wealth tied to your husband's companies, you understand why that raises questions for people watching from that.
Yeah, but that's again one of the it's their saying, right? Like there is no wealth increase. If you look at my husband's income, it's almost non-existent. He's helped make sure our children are going to college and our young one is taken care of.
And she's still sitting here lying. Oh my God.
There is no wealth. There are ranges to businesses that he was invested in. I'm pretty sure I don't even know what.
But they say, well, correct me if I'm wrong, 'cause
Yeah.
they said you reported a net worth between $6 million and $30 million. And they said your 2023 disclosure was roughly between $40,000 and $250,000.
Yeah, but they're not net worths. They're like the asset things for the companies, and so I don't know what percentage of it my husband actually has investment in. Like that's not, you know what I mean? It's not a full picture of the numbers in the way that
You
it
say
is.
your husband got an investment in. How you gonna invest in something if he ain't got no money? You need some money to at least try to start investing in something. But you say he ain't got no job, he ain't got no money.
Presented in the document because in the
And that's why I say don't be no pushback when she go to these type of shows.
documents,
They just let her
we
talk.
have to do ranges and we have to like report in a way that is not detailed. It's not like your tax return that you're submitting for the public record to see.
But that is a big increase. So you could understand why people would
Yeah,
ask questions.
yeah.
at least.
But I'm pretty sure it'll get like adjusted at some level when those ranges are looked at.
And I think I saw that your husband was asked to turn over some documents but didn't comply. So is that true?
From who?
I don't know. I guess the Department of Justice.
See there? You see what I'm talking about? You see she up here playing dumb and then she doing these fake from who? Who you think? Who is investigating him? The DOJ. What are you talking about? From who? So she's going on this show and playing like that. She ain't being investigated. Her husband ain't being investigated. It ain't happening. This is what this woman is going on this show doing. And we seen all the clips. I done showed y'all all the clips that they under investigation. And she's still sitting here talking about it's not an investigation. Who? Look at this. And she just continues to freaking lie about it.
But I'm pretty sure it'll get like adjusted at some level when those ranges are looked at.
And I think I saw that your husband was asked to turn over some documents but didn't comply. So is that true?
From who?
I don't know. I guess the Department of Justice. I don't know.
The House Oversight Committee and the
House Oversight
Government Reform
Committee,
Committee. That was what was reported. That I think it was early on in like January, February, that he was asked to turn over like emails and different things. And
Yeah,
he
there
didn't
is no
comply.
there is no oversight that the Oversight Committee has over my husband or me. So why would you submit documents to an entity that has nothing to do with you?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like they have oversight over the government and ethics is the one that has oversight over the member, not the spouse. And so
That's
it's
why you
not
said
a-
earlier you was like let them.
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. It's like I remember like I've had maybe like I don't know 5 campaign finance complaints. Like they file a complaint every other day, and they want the headline, and then once those things get closed, no one writes about the fact that there was nothing there.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure once this whatever happens with whatever Comer and them are trying to insinuate that like nothing will be reported out of it because it's only the accusations that ever get picked up. But I've like never been fined. I've never had any sort of.
No, because you just been getting away with it. That's the thing. You been getting away with it. Because remember, Joe Biden and the Biden had uninvestigated. Well, of course, we knew they weren't going to follow through. They all together. It was all a fake. But we're going to see, though.
Financial issues.
What about the fraud case in Minnesota with the feeding?
Which is, again, I think that is the reason they are trying to create
that
this
together.
thing is because they think this supposed 30 million or what did the president say, 44 million is because of the fraud in Minnesota. They think like I've somehow gotten something, which is
You was working for the person who just admitted the Feed Our Children program, whatever that thing that y'all was doing. The person that was running it got arrested and admitted that he was fraud, that it was a whole fraud, and you was working there, and you telling me you had no idea that he was fraud and making all of that money, and that's where your piece of the pie came in. That's how your net worth, got that high. You and your husband, then it's fake winery, everything in cahoots.
insane. But it's a huge problem. I think it's now 230 million that has been
They say, well, 250 is what they say.
Yeah,
250
yeah,
misuse funds meant for child nutrition.
230 to 250. There's been about 77 or so
75 defendants.
that have been indicted. Many of them have taken plea agreements.
That makes it. They got to make it hard for you, right? Just in general, not because you got anything to do with it.
Yeah.
But when he can point and say, well, this actually happened.
I mean, it doesn't make it hard for me, but it does make it hard for, the average Somali business owner.
There you go. Yeah.
It makes it hard for the average immigrant business owner. It makes it hard for the average Black business owner because it does create this cloud of suspicion and And obviously it's become very politicized.
It's becoming politicized. So President Trump showed proof of all this fraud going on in Minnesota, and she's still saying, "Oh, this is just politicized. It's not true. It's all a lie." And this is how this woman think. Why? Because she was getting some of the money, and now she wants to say, "Oh, they're just politics. It's just politicized. They only doing it because they don't like me." What?
And it will continue to be politicized as we get closer to November. And the level of harassment people are dealing with, even you'll have people go to restaurants, coffee shops, with their cameras harassing all of these business owners.
And daycares,
and
right?
daycare centers.
So she care about all these people that was frauding the American people. So that's what it is. She putting these fraudsters, just because they her people, she putting them over the American citizens that's been getting their money stolen from these people who's buying all these Lamborghinis and all these expensive sports cars and all of that with our taxpayer dollars. It's like, come on, man.
Where people have not been able to take their children because they're scared. And so that aspect of it is hard. When people ask, like, what can I do? How can you help? Like, that is where it's challenging, because there isn't anything happening to them, but they are afraid. And then they're asking for help. And then because the government is not doing anything, we can't get any information for them, or we can't tell them it's going to be okay. So it creates a lot of fog for us as their liaison to the federal government, but it also creates a lot of fog as they think about growth, development, sustainability, especially in an economy where everything is hard, because in Minnesota, we're also very much hit by tariffs. We're a border state. We have a lot of entrepreneurs who get goods from places like China and others. So the tariffs are also causing a lot of economic hardship.
This woman is full of crap. Sit up there and just told lies. We're not being investigated. Look at this. Even Officer Tatum posted, Ilhan Omar cares more about Somali business owners feeling awkward than about American taxpayers getting robbed of hundreds of millions. Classic. Grifters first, victims never. And that's exactly what he had to say about this whole thing, because that right there just don't make any sense at all. Look at this woman. So like I said, she don't have long. She is done. We've been getting the reports. Ilhan Omar should have her citizenship revoked and get her out of this country. Ilhan Omar on Minnesota fraud. It does make it hard for the average Somali business owner. It makes it hard for the average immigrant business owner. So that's who she care about, but not the people that's getting their money stolen. So let's continue this right here. It's a Fox News contributor nukes Ilhan Omar and her husband for playing from the Hunter Biden playbook.
Yeah, I was doing a bit of research into Tim Manette, Ilhan Omar's husband's various businesses, and his investment firm. It has no known clients, no known investment deals. It doesn't even have an active SEC registration. And his winery, which is also purportedly making him millions of dollars per year, has no online presence. It has no marketable products available for purchase online. And get this, back in 2024, an investor into that winery actually sued Manette and his business partners, alleging that they had fraudulently misrepresented the winery as a legitimate business operation.
Yep.
So yeah, maybe there's a version of events here in which, of course, all of this is conveniently timed with his wife's election to Congress and her growing considerable influence in the Democratic Party. And maybe there is a version of events in which Ilhan Omar and her husband have just been extremely fortunate. But in that case, you would think that Ilhan Omar might be a bit more appreciative for this country in the ways in which it's aided her success.
Yep.
But I look at these events, and I think they have cracked the Hunter Biden playbook. And I think that there are many other people in Washington, D.C. who watched the success of the influence peddling scheme that the Biden family ran. And more importantly, they saw that the Biden family faced zero consequences for that scheme.
Yep.
And they decided to try and replicate the results themselves. So I do hope that James Comer is successful at cracking what is actually going on here, because I think that she's probably not the only one in Washington with some considerable wealth to answer for.
So like I said, we shall see, but I want y'all to remember when J.D. Vance pretty much, saying that she did commit immigration fraud, because a lot of people probably forgot about this.
About Ilhan Omar and Tim Walz.
Exactly.
And obviously, Ilhan Omar, the president and the White House have been out saying that she married her brother, that there is immigration fraud going on here. These are deportable denaturalization offenses. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, so we actually think that Ilhan Omar definitely committed immigration fraud against the United States of America. And I talked to Stephen Miller about this actually recently. We're trying to look at what the remedies are. That's the thing that we're trying to figure out, is what are the legal remedies now that we know that she's committed immigration fraud? How do you go after her? How do you investigate her? How do you actually do the thing? How do you build the case necessary to get some justice for the American people? There's a related issue, Benny, which is she has been at the center of a lot of the worst fraudsters in the Somalian community. So do I know that Ilhan Omar was aware that the Quality Leering Center was defrauding the American people? I'm not certain of it, but we at least need to investigate it, because if people can commit wrongdoing without even the fear that they're going to be found out, that's a fundamental problem. So I'm worried about the immigration fraud. I'm also worried about, what did Ilhan Omar know about what was happening in the Somali community, and why was nobody looking into it until, frankly, Donald Trump came along?
Trust me, Ilhan Omar knew everything about what was going on in Minnesota. She knew about the fraud. Tim Walz knew about the fraud. Jacob Frey knew about the fraud. All of them knew. They were just filling their pockets. And now she's on her way out of the country.
Okay, that was far-left Congresswoman Ilhan Omar claiming the Justice Department and Congress probing her sudden skyrocketing wealth to $30 million in just 1 year, that they have a problem with her living the American dream. You heard her say the goddamn United States of America. We've got new questions on where she and her husband got all that money. Joining us now, Forbes Media Chair, Editor-in-Chief Steve Forbes. Steve, new information coming in, and Forbes magazine, your magazine, has reported this too, that the state of Delaware and Washington, D.C. canceled the registrations for Omar's husband's investment firm, Rose Lake, for not paying its back taxes. We saw it owed more than $400,000 to Delaware and nearly $1,800 to D.C. She's claiming it's worth $25 million from less than $1,000 a year before. How can his investment firm not afford to pay taxes? It's supposedly worth an estimated $75 million to $150 million. This is really weird stuff.
Well, weird is not the word for it. There's another word for it called crooked. And that's why we have to have an investigation into this. As you know, the Biden administration started examining her finances and that of her husband. And so surprise, surprise, that investigation went nowhere. But it's amazing how people can go into Congress and then become these entrepreneurial investing geniuses, where they come in. She had under $1,000 of net worth, and her husband didn't have much, and suddenly now they're multimillionaires. Is there a money laundering operation here? And in terms of the firms themselves, they have a sketchy background. That winery in California that she and her husband own, where did that come from? Where's the wine there? And nobody can seem to find it. So there's a lot of smelly stuff here, and that's why in the American Dream, her version of the American Dream is the Al Capone version of the American Dream, Tony Soprano version of the American Dream, and that is steal it from the taxpayers. And so there's a lot of stuff here, and so when somebody cloaks themselves in the American Dream, and so you have numbers like this, from minus 1,000 to 30, 40 million, you know something is not right.
Yeah, and she's also like... blaming people, bullying, doing race baiting, race bullying. There's no evidence, public evidence, there's even a winery. She valued it at $5 million. His investment firm is real. It's supposedly real. Its D.C. headquarters appear to share office space at a WeWork, Steve. There's no track record of his firm managing money, doing M&A deals. No clients we see, investment deals, or any work it's done. They say they do work in 80 nations operating in. There's no SEC registrations for them as investment advisors. What is going on here? This increasingly looks sketchy, both the winery and his investment firm.
Yeah, the winery may not exist, and the firm may be just really a name only, as you say, a WeWork office. Big deal. So that's why the investigation needs to be done. And suddenly all that $30 million, I think you're going to find, I'll make a speculation and prediction, that $30 million came from sources that are illegal, period.
Thank you so much, Steve Forbes, helping us to break it down. We're going to stay on the story.
Now, the last thing I want to show y'all Ro rejects the House Oversight Committee's investigation to Ilhan Omar finances. They always want to say that somebody is playing politics, but they the main one that was playing politics when it came to President Trump, trying to get this man locked up for anything. All these lies, making women come up there. Oh, he did something to me 40 years ago. No proof of anything, just her saying it. So it's like, man, get out of here with that. Even check this out.
Documents. This is something else the committee's looking at, this idea that they're investigating the finances of Ms. Omar. Yeah. This is part of this fraud investigation here, but they say, her wealth has shot up geometrically the past few years.
I don't think that we should be playing politics with this committee.
So investigating somebody about their finances is playing politics. According to Ro Khanna, investigating somebody because of their finance, because they went from what, $50,000 or $50 or whatever the case may be, whatever she had in her account, that to $30 million. And he say, well, that's playing politics. What?
Committee, it's unprecedented to go after another member. There's a procedure. There's a House.
It's unprecedented to go after another member. Was it unprecedented to go after a former president when y'all were trying to lock him up over lies? Was it unprecedented with, kangaroo neck Adam Schiff was trying to do with the Russia lie? Was that unprecedented?
Ethics Committee. So we should be focused on who raped these underage girls, who committed these crimes, and why we have a rich and powerful class that feels they're above the law.
Do you think they're trying to pin that on her just because it's a question of race? It's a question of...
I don't know, but I've been on the Oversight Committee now 10 years. We've never done that with members. There's a different procedure for House ethics, which we have. So I don't know why we're trying to politicize the committee.
Politicized, but they are full of crap. When it come to one of their own being in trouble, like they trying to cover up for Eric Swalwell, well, we didn't know, and then reports come out, well, we knew, that's the reason why I didn't vote for him. Like, what? You just said you didn't know anything about it. So like I said, y'all please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I will keep y'all up to date as more information come out, and I'll catch y'all in the next one.